Welcome back to One Heart Live, bridging the gap between you and the beautiful Caribbean. And today it's all about the media, and we have a stellar lineup of guests, starting with the lovely Marcia McLaughlin. She's the founder and editor of the Phoenix Newspaper, and we've also got the managing director of The Voice, George Ruddock, and comedian and friend of the show, Kat Boyce is here, everyone.
Yeah, baby.
Just before the break, we were talking, well, actually, about you being an agony uncle, actually. We'll get into that in a moment. If you want to hear, maybe have a problem solved, then you can get involved with the conversation. We absolutely want to hear from you. So send us a tweet at 1HEART or you can give us an email, send that to connect@onehearttv.com, or you can speak to us live, give us a call. The number is 0207 819 6460. Okay, so yeah, you were an agony uncle, but actually it's about the press being fully rounded, and I think that involvement shows that. What do you think on that?
Yeah, I mean, Kat does a column for us, and certainly one of the most popular ones.
Oh, great!
Because we do get response, and Kat gives his answers.
So, and that's the thing. I think, in fact, would you say that there have been any quite media or Caribbean-centric questions that come to you as an agony uncle, or do you get questions from across the community?
Oh gosh, well, unless you read it 100 times, we can work out their background. You see, most of the time now that the young people, they already know they've got a problem or their friend has got a problem, and they just throw a question. So I just answer it the best way I know, and most of the time they already know the answer. They already know what the answer is, but they just need that little push to just, you know, get that little bit of Dutch courage, as they would say, to make the right choices. So, you know what I mean? We get stuff that you think would be ridiculous, but it's come from them, so you still have to answer it.
Yeah.
And then you get stuff that you just go, whoa, this one's deep. Like, yeah, this one's, you know, so we have to now tread a little bit more carefully.
And George, so you would be instrumental then in ensuring that you're bringing in all of these different voices so that you are properly serving the community. Oh
yeah, I mean, you know, The Voice is pretty much established in Black Britain. It's been around for over 30 years. Our readership, I would imagine, have grown with the newspaper.
And in fact, just hold there, 30 years. I mean, that's a huge deal. And in fact, it's made that you're a real cultural reference point, actually, and fully serving a commentary across Black Britain. So I'm guessing that there have been some real standout moments for you, which we'd love to hear from you on. And we're going to have a look at a film, so we could perhaps take a look at some of those moments. Have a look at this.
The Voice newspaper?
Yes, I do.
You read it regular?
Yeah.
Okay. You enjoy it?
Yes, I do.
All right.
It's got a voice, isn't it?
It's our voice.
Jamaican-born accountant Val McCalla founded The Voice newspaper in 1982. It was made possible with a grant from the Greater London Council, a small feat in itself, as at the time, Black businesses found it particularly hard to get backing from large corporations. The need for a national newspaper to represent and give a voice to the Black community was recognised by McCalla, and for 3 decades it has strived to do this. It is still the only British national Black weekly newspaper and is published every Thursday.
Today we're at Lewisham Town Hall in South London. The reason that we're here is that we're doing a series of community visits up and down the country because we want to get into communities and find out the issues that are dear to their heart.
Over the years, it has campaigned on numerous issues and championed the causes of Black people nationwide, such as the infamous Brixton riots, the racially motivated murder of teen Stephen Lawrence, and more recently, The Voice critically covered the media's representation of the Black youth in the Tottenham riots over the death of Mark Duggan. The work of the newspaper has earned the award of the Best Media House of the Year at the 2014 African Enterprise Awards. Today, The Voice still proudly calls itself Britain's favourite Black newspaper. However, reports have shown that since its peak circulation in the early to mid-90s, its figures have dropped. With the increase of online publications and social media outlets delivering up-to-date news at the touch of a button, how will this affect The Voice? And will we eventually see a decline across all Black publications?
So, George, how does it feel seeing that? I mean, that's 30 years. That's just a glimpse into it. Congratulations on reaching the big 3-0.
Yeah.
Yourself for the second time with the newspaper. Yeah. So, I mean, how does it feel to be 17
No, I mean,
for that length
we're
of
glad,
time?
we're proud to be still Britain's leading black newspaper. And I think with the advent of things like social media, we are moving along in those lines. If you look at The Voice Facebook, for instance, it's one of the fastest growing. We have over 300,000 people engaged on our Facebook site. Our Twitter site is growing. And I'm pleased to say that we are about to launch the Voice app.
Oh, great.
Where you can now get the digital version of the newspaper in its full entirety.
Oh, great.
So we are moving along with, a changing landscape in terms of media.
And I guess that threw up so many challenges for you then, the changing landscape. Yeah. So was it a reaction to how the landscape was changing, or would you say you were ahead of it and you were just moving with the times?
No, I think we had to move with how the trend was going. And the one thing which have really kept the newspaper itself fully functional is obviously advertising.
Yeah.
Advertising is our main revenue earner. And while social media and websites and so on have merged, and that's where the trend is going, you still haven't seen the advertising growth on that side yet. And I think until we see where that surpass what the print brings in terms of revenue, then we'd think whether it's time to stop the print and just focus solely on the electronic version.
So you can see a time then when print would be stopped altogether?
I think it's, there's signs that a lot of newspapers are thinking about this seriously. Yeah. And you just have to look at some of the national newspapers. Some of the best online newspapers is globally is the Guardian, the Daily Mail. They're the best online offering. Yeah. But they still keep the print. Because print, as I said, the advertising, the revenue haven't surpassed print to go online. And so it will still be there.
Marcia, can you see the Phoenix going the same way? Would you imagine to not have a... OK, so no, straight away.
No.
Why would you never stop print?
I've been in the media in a different way from George. I've been on the advertising and marketing side. And I worked originally for Trinity Mirror. And yes, you do have to sustain the advertising revenue within each publication. And if you understand the online media, you can make a hell of a lot of money from that. Far more than you can make in the printed version. Because what you don't have is the overheads. I understand it all, but I love print. I love the smell. I love to read. And turn the pages, and our children do. When our children picks up a newspaper, before they decide to go online, they're turning the pages and they're seeing images of themselves, and that has to be positive. So I welcome change, because there has to be, but I don't think print will ever leave us, because there's people that love it.
People love something tangible, I guess, and there are those standout moments that you want to keep, and it's more tangible having something physical like that. How do you think The Voice has managed to remain relevant over all of these years?
Well, because we are still the voice of the community. We report on everything which affects the community. And I think that's what has been the thing that really made us remain as the main newspaper. It's because we cover things. I mean, just the VT just shows you exactly that when issues like, if you go back to the Mark Duggan case, I mean, we kept on that story and so on. So it's those stories that have kept us going.
And in fact, a story that has been that's been prevalent of recent is the whole district nightclub story.
Well, we broke
which you've been on top of. You broke the story.
We broke that story.
All right. So I mean, tell us why you thought it was so important to keep on top of that voice and keep it moving.
Well, it just shows you that in 2015 we're still having the same issues that the Voice was born out of in 1982.
It's exhausting.
So, so when a story like that comes up, I mean, you have to be on top of it. Well, as I said, we broke that story online, and then the other papers started to pick up on it.
Yeah, of course.
Pleased to see that even BBC TV actually had it on.
And all the way, The Voice have been referenced, actually, which has been great to see.
And that's why I go back to saying, you have to cover every story, whether it's positive, negative or positive.
OK, so what do you think on that? I mean, would you cover a story such as that, or you think it's too negative for Phoenix?
Well, you know, when you are in the newspaper business, you have to select what it is that you can do and tackle what it is that you can actually handle. I set myself up as a positive newspaper because I want to deal with young people. I want to deal with the changes. I want to deal with the positive platforms that we can offer to young journalists who wants to write about positive things within their community. I'm not saying in any way that I wouldn't write or don't, you know, condone negativity because it's out there. But there's far more positive things that's happening within our community, and that's why you find that the negative jumps out at you even more because there's so much positive. All I'm doing is just highlighting it, and I'm saying to people, you know, here is something that's wonderful, and let's go for it. Okay, I mean, you know, what would you say, Kat? Do you think that it's a good stance to have, just literally, this is what we're going to do in regards to positive media, particularly when there is an element of conversation that needs to be had, such as the district story? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think both newspapers are doing positive things. They're both doing it from a different angle, you know, the same way as if I was to get on an aeroplane, all right, my job is to enjoy the flight, you know, and the pilot's job is to fly, and your job over there is to be the stewardess. They're doing two different things, but I'm still going to enjoy the journey because you're going to be covering something that you won't be covering, and vice versa. I mean, the district thing, it had to break, and it's good that it did break, because, I mean, I was invited to my ex-girlfriend's party.
Okay,
You know her as...
break it down.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know her as Octave, you know her as Mariah Carey. And, you know, I went to her private party, I got there, and we couldn't get in. And I was like, why can't I get in? And then I thought, you know, this is very long, so I left. But then I got a phone call, come back, Mariah wants you there.
Of course,
and,
why wouldn't she?
Thanks, babe, but remember, we're not together anymore. But,
just get over it, Mariah.
Yeah, I mean, she's still, I mean, yeah, you heard, you know, she used to sing some really good notes with me. But anyway, so, you know, I'm at this place, and everybody that was going in wasn't black. And I went, what's going on here? And Mariah made a noise about it, and it got sorted, and we got let in. But it was this thing of, what is going on? And
So I mean, you've been aware of this, and this conversation is going to keep going, actually, throughout the course of the evening. I mean, and throughout both of your publication. Perhaps you'll take the positive from whatever comes out of this situation.
I'm also objective and informative.
And I'm really sorry that I've got to say goodbye to you. I'm really sorry, because I feel like I've got so much more to say to you. But thank you so much for joining us on the sofa this evening. And of course, you know, you can follow what they have to say. They're in all of the usual places. What are you up to at the moment?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because this Saturday we'll be down by Trafalgar Square. It's Africa on the Square.
Yes.
We have actually produced a magazine. It's Focus Africa Celebrates.
Great.
So this is in commemoration of that.
Hold that up so everyone at home can see.
There you go. Africa Celebrates, a free magazine.
We got that. Lovely.
So we'll be there on Saturday. And as I said, the Voice app, and we have a competition, so you could enter it. You could log onto it, and then you win a prize.
So get onto the app so you can find out more about what George has got to offer. And Marcia, how about yourself? What's happening with the Phoenix?
We're celebrating Black History Month.
Great.
We're making sure that the community is locked down. We're just getting on with the job, you know, and making sure that we're a part of it. Celebrations and everything.
Well, you absolutely are. Thank you so much. You know, really appreciate you being there, being here with us. So after the break, we're going to turn our attention to radio and have a look at the story of Choice FM. So don't go anywhere.